So you just got laid off and you don't know what to do. Before we start, I want you to know that you are not alone. In the last 3 months, mass layoffs have hit the job market. Meta cut 11,000 jobs, Twitter cut 7,500, Snap let 6,400 people go, Ford let 3,000 workers go, Shopify cut 1,000 people, and dozens of other companies are following suit and cutting large parts of their workforces as interest rates rise, revenues fall, and companies brace for the potential recession that could be on the horizon. This is a really hard time for a lot of people right now, and going through a job loss is stressful and emotionally traumatizing. I know, I've experienced it, so I wanted to create a resource for you guys when you're in this trying time. I want to help you get up on your feet and make this layoff the best thing that ever happened to you. Today, I'll outline 10 things you need to remember as you go through the process of being laid off and looking for a new job. I read through all the articles about responding to a job layoff you can possibly imagine, so I could consolidate the best parts for you right here. So if you appreciate the work that takes and you want more people to benefit from this video and see it, consider giving it a like so that they can see it. And if you want more videos about business and personal finance, consider subscribing, and let's get into step 1. Step 1, stay professional. At this point, it might be a little late to say this, but try to stay as professional as you can as you depart the company. There's no point in burning bridges, lashing out, or saying mean things. I know how badly you want them to have it, but it won't help you. It's okay to tear up, it's okay to cry, but do your best to be kind and respectful on your way out. I know it's hard, but keeping your cool is necessary if you want to make the most out of this rough situation. Step 2, request a layoff letter from HR. Let's be honest, layoffs often happen for reasons outside of your control. There is a difference between being laid off and being fired. They do not mean the same thing. When you are laid off, you lose your job out of no distinguishable fault of your own. When you are fired, on the other hand, it usually has to do with your own actions, whether that be poor performance, dishonesty, or some other reason. Assuming you have been laid off and your job is being eliminated for reasons outside of your influence, like restructuring, economic calamities, mergers, buyouts, or relocations, a layoff letter explaining the circumstances to prospective employers can be a really helpful tool in reassuring future employers that you are a valuable employee and that the company would have loved to have kept you, but they just couldn't afford it. Usually people are laid off for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There isn't always great logic in which departments or people get the axe. Yes, leaders will say they made strategic cuts, but these decisions can be rushed and be made in a stressful environment, which reduces the quality of these decisions. Plus, people, even leadership, shocker, I know, make mistakes. So do your best to not take your layoff personally, and don't feel like you were a failure. I know this is a tall task, but the reality is that your employer has failed, not you. This is all to say that being laid off should not be a scarlet letter that keeps you from the job of your dreams. And this letter from HR is proof to anyone who asks that you didn't do anything wrong. You should read this letter carefully and look for errors or omissions. If the letter gets a significant detail wrong or it overlooks an important contribution made by you, point it out and ask politely for a revision. The point of this is to prove that you were a quality employee and were not simply fired. On top of a layoff letter, you can ask for a promise that they will speak highly of you to future employers who call, or even have them write you a letter of recommendation. Most employers feel bad about having to lay off their employees and want to help. It doesn't hurt you to ask, and you'd be shocked how selfless some people can be. Step 3, inquire about your health insurance benefits. After a layoff, the length of time you are covered under your employer-sponsored plan depends on how far in advance your premiums are paid. Usually employers pay a single month in advance, so if you get laid off at the beginning of the month, you at least have that month covered. Your layoff package should lay out your insurance status and potential options, but again, don't hesitate to ask. As far as the future of your health insurance goes, while you don't have a job, you can benefit from COBRA, or the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, which allows you to continue your company insurance for up to 18 months after being let go. But you might have to pay the whole premium, as most companies will stop paying their half as you were let go. You can also shop for an individual healthcare plan on the state or federal exchanges that were made possible by the ACA. Even if it's not open enrollment time, losing your job counts as one of those unforeseen life events that allow you to apply mid-year. And lastly, you can always go without health insurance. This is a risky option, but due to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, you won't be hit with a fine for not having health insurance. Step 4, collect your pay or ask about a severance package. It's really important that you make sure you are fully compensated for your work at the company. Some company policies mean that they are obligated to pay you for your accrued vacation days or sick days, so check to see if your company has a policy like that. You should also make sure that you have been reimbursed for any travel expenses or anything else before you leave. Oftentimes you'll get your final check on your last day, but sometimes it's arranged to come at a later date. If your employer is going to give you severance pay, they will usually outline how much during the layoff meeting. But if they don't mention it, you can always ask. The worst thing that happens is they say no. If they do offer a severance package, it is probably pretty watertight, but you can still do some general research to see if the package is in line with the industry standards. Most of the time, this won't bear any fruit, and since you don't really have any leverage, unless you suspect they're firing you due to a federally protected reason like age, sex, race, or something like that, you should probably just take the offer, as it's the best you're going to get from them. Step 5, register for unemployment. If you have been laid off, you are entitled to collect unemployment insurance benefits from the government. Benefits vary by state, so be sure to check your local state unemployment insurance policies when you apply. Some states require you to have worked for a company for a certain amount of time, like 6 months, to qualify for the unemployment payments. You can also apply online or in person in most places. Remember that in most cases you'll only get half a year or 26 weeks of unemployment, and usually the pay is about a quarter to a half of your normal pay. If you guys want more details on this, I found this really good resource that I'll link to in the description right below the like button. Step 6. Have a good cry. This is an important step. Even if your layoff is expected, it can be a traumatic experience. Being laid off really hurts your feeling of self-worth and can really crush your confidence. It can feel like the whole world is crumbling around you. You need to take time to cry it out and make peace with what's happened. You need to make sure you truly internalize and understand that being laid off is not a reflection of your value as a human being. It's okay to feel sad. Let these feelings come. You can cry it out, talk it out with a friend, hit the gym, or write your feelings down to help you heal. Take a couple of days off from everything and just give yourself time to process. And don't make any big decisions during these couple of days. You need to have processed your feelings before you start looking for another job. Step 7, make a budget. Now that your income has been slashed in half, in thirds, or is completely gone, it's important to understand where you are financially. Hopefully you watched my How to Prepare for a Recession video, and you know how important it is to have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund so you don't have to stress as much about the money side of things. Or your previous employer gave you a really solid severance package, but either way, we need to know exactly how much money we spend each month so we can minimize that number and make the pile of cash that we have last as long as we need it to. This will again reduce the level of stress that we have and help us develop good habits of budgeting for when we do get a job again. Step 8. Supercharge your resume. Okay, so now you've processed through everything and you are ready to start looking for that new job. To start, pull out your resume and open up your LinkedIn. Make sure they are up to date and accurately show the world how awesome you really are. The reality is that your resume and LinkedIn profile are usually the only 2 things potential employers see when they're deciding if they're going to call you in for an interview or not. So if either is not awesome, it's going to hurt your chances at getting to the interview stage when you get to show them how great you really are. Some great ways you can clean up your resume are by asking family and friends to look over the document and give you constructive feedback on it. They might help you find typos or point out that you missed describing a really awesome thing you did at your last job. Most likely, if you've been working at the same job for a while, you might need to take a decent amount of time refreshing your resume, but I promise it'll be worth it. Step 9, start your job search. Okay, now that you're all prepared with a great resume, let's go looking for a job. Most likely, if you are working at a tech company and all the tech companies are laying off workers, you'll probably need to hop to another sector that isn't struggling as much. And that's okay. If you really miss whatever industry you were in, you can always come back in a couple of years once the recession is over. In your job search, you can of course use websites like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, or LinkedIn. But don't be afraid to use your other social networks and your in-person friends. That old adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know is definitely true. So ask around. If you don't feel comfortable telling the whole world you got let go, that's okay. You can always just say you're looking for a new opportunity when you're networking. By the way, if you want some more tips on networking, check out this video on my channel after this one. One thing you should definitely be prepared for is the question in an interview of, have you been laid off? In that case, don't try to avoid the question or provide a vague answer. Instead, be prepared and explain that the company needed to lay off a number of employees due to sluggish sales, losing market share, or whatever else the reason was. Don't forget, you have your layoff letter as proof that what you are saying is true. You should also be prepared to answer why you were one of the ones who got laid off rather than one of the ones who stayed. This is a really easy answer if it was your whole division who got laid off, but if it was a more targeted layoff, you can maybe talk about some of the potential weaknesses you had and how you've worked to overcome them. Make sure you treat the job application job like your job. That's kind of a tongue twister, but it's real. Get up, work, put the hours in, and work on it every single day. The reality is that the majority of job applications are rejected. So the more high quality applications you send out, the more likely you will be to get the interviews and eventually offers that could lead to a better future. Step 10, look at this as an opportunity. Being laid off obviously sucks. It hurts your confidence, robs you of security, and can make you feel like your career is being set back. But this could actually be an opportunity, especially if you got severance pay. You're essentially getting paid to search for the job of your dreams for a couple of months. It's a great opportunity to think about how your career is going this far and where you'd like to see it go in the future. Think about what you liked and what you didn't like about your previous role. What have you always wanted to do in work that you haven't been able to do thus far in your career? Maybe you've had a business idea that you've been wanting to start, but you've just been too busy or too afraid to do so. This could be a great opportunity to try it out. You can also think about if there are any companies or fields that you'd really like to look into. Remember, if you got a severance package or you have your 6-month emergency fund, you have time to figure this out. As I've talked with people about the topic of this video, I've had several people tell me that them losing their jobs was one of the best things that ever happened to them because they got an opportunity elsewhere, started a company, or went back to school to do the career that they really wanted. So who knows, maybe you'll look back on this in 5 years and be so happy it happened. I'm assuming that since you're watching this, you probably just got laid off. I know that things are tough right now. You're stressed, scared, and unassured. You aren't sure if you have what it takes, but I promise you that you do have what it takes. You can use this time to your advantage. If you stay calm, evaluate what it is you want to do next, and come up with a game plan to dominate, you've got this. If you guys have any questions about this topic or anything else, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll answer any question you have down there. If you've enjoyed this video, and I'm assuming you did because you're still here right now, consider giving it a like and subscribing. I post one full-length video like this a week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.